Here?
He won't be here. Raleigh's on. He'll be late.
Good.
Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. Would you roll call, please?
Travis Beckley.
Here.
John Baker.
Here.
John Praja.
Here.
Robin Ritchie. Here. Jen Caspers.
Here.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I need a motion for approval of the agenda. So moved. Second. A motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right,
And a motion to approve our agenda.
I suppose.
And a second. All those in favor?
Aye. All right. We'll be sharing information. What do you got?
Just some project updates that we have. Well number 5, we awarded the bid to Wendler. They're going to finish up the remaining work of the well. That's out there at the sports complex. The well's actually on the McAneel property of the Pleasant Grove Heritage Park. We ended up running the water lines from there up to where the new building is. So if you go in on 3rd, go to Jefferson Street where the road turns and heads out. If you were to continue on 3rd, down about 150 feet on the right is where the building will be. So they're going to be working on that. It's already started. They're going to be hitting it heavy here once the weather straightens out. Same with complex work on the diamonds. As of last fall, they were able to get all the underground pipe in for the sprinkler system. The backstop poles are up, and that is the main point that they anchor into the fencing and the dugouts. So their plan is to finish up by the end of summer, and we'll be ready to play on it come the spring. A couple other things we'll be doing. Washington Street, we're going to be doing some patches. There'll be some other places around town that we'll be doing some patchwork on the roads. We'll be sure to communicate with Rod and the school for bus situations if something was to be impacted. I do not look for this to be a whole street closure by any stretch, but we'll keep you posted on that as we go forward. I'll be meeting with some new potential development at the industrial park this week. As you all are aware, since last time we met, the Elite Stone factory has been built out there in the industrial park, and Eric's company has bought the remaining land other than this 15 acres that I'm meeting with tomorrow about. So Eric's hoping to expand his factory again, and then he could potentially have some acres out there to sell to other developers as well. So if you know of anybody interested in moving that type of commercial industrial work, just feel free to give them my number and reach out to me, and I can get a meeting set up with them. Once the complex goes in, I know that there's a 40-acre parcel of land out next to the complex that the owner is open to discussing with developers or realtors for possible housing development. That is the only thing right now on the table that we would have as far as that goes. And last but not least, on our end, just thank you for the partnership you guys have had with the city since I've started here. Shared work, equipment, resources, and as the budgets continue to get tighter, I think that's going to be paramount moving forward, that we continue to do that and help each other wherever we can. And we're always willing, if we can coordinate it and communicate with advanced timing and stuff like that. And so if there's anything you guys need, feel free to reach out. We'd be happy to help.
You want to explain to them about the EMS things that's going to be coming up?
Yeah, so there is a vote that will be special election. I think right now it's leaning more towards September. We have EMS districts that we've created within the city. This will be for a vote to the public. The state has passed the language that you can now tax for EMS coverage. Before that was just part of the general fund. This would be an additional tax. It'd be equal to the fire tax that's already in place. So it'd be separate. And essentially what that's going to do is fund the ambulance service. Right now they rely on what they get for the bills and then fundraising, and they can't really run a 24/7 operation. We do have an ambulance director, but what this would do is basically always have 24/7 coverage of a paramedic and crews to cover that. Still be supplemented with volunteers, but this would just expand their abilities. I know they're probably pushing 900 calls a year, so you know, it's 3 a day, and it's pretty taxing on a volunteer organization. So Cedar County had passed this. They're doing it differently than how Lisbon Mount Vernon is. But they're going to put this out for vote. There'll be a Lisbon district, a Mount Vernon district, a Lynn County district. Jones and Cedar have already passed, and then there'll be a Johnson County district. So those maps have been done, and it's ready to go, and it's just in the proper steps it have to take to do a formal election. So look for that in September.
And our ambulance service, just to let you know, I can't tell you off the top of my head how many calls they had last year, but they never missed one. They had a crew show for every one of them. Very good. Anybody else got anything we're going to ask or talk about?
Okay, first of all, I want to thank you all for hosting us and Christina for setting this up. There's always a little extra work that goes into hosting, so we want to thank you and thank you to our mayor. We also want to thank you for the long-standing relationship that's occurred, and it's beyond just relationships around the table outside of here, but that professional relationship too, where we can call on each other and partner when we need to. Lots of gratitude for that partnership, and that just that hopefully mutually beneficial relationship to get the job done for our community, so thank you for that. I just have a few things to communicate that I thought might be helpful. One is I thought I'd start with some of the track meets coming up, because those always are a lot of vehicles, and it kind of changes the landscape, especially along 30, etc. So just wanted it to be on your radar. We were chosen this year, which is on rotation, on May 7th to host the Tri-Rivers Conference meet. So that's a Thursday, and so wanted to make you aware of that. It's a lot of teams and a lot of traffic, so just wanted to bring that up. May 8th is a junior high track meet. It's on a Friday. That's a little bit easier to host, but just wanted to mention that. And then kind of the big whammy one is May 14th, and again, that's on a Thursday. So what we did as a school district is we changed our early dismissal, which would have been on Wednesday the 13th, and we swapped it for the 14th to clear out our campus so we could make room for everybody. So that was May 7th, May 8th, and May 14th, just so that's helpful for all of you. And just to give you an example of participation numbers, in junior high alone, we have 81 students out for track, and that is just phenomenal and unheard of in districts our size. So just, I think it's a testament to the Lisbon community, the parent dedication, the encouragement of school pride and all that goes with that, and probably our feeder systems and Parks and Rec and other things, right, that we just instill this idea of getting involved. So just wanted to share that. It's pretty remarkable. As far as facilities projects, others around the table could contribute to this, but you're probably noticing things have wrapped up, so to speak. I'm sure you've been through this, where we always have that walk through and that one last thing all the time that we're trying to correct, but we've worked a lot on that in the last year. I will mention one of our most popular projects, and has gotten a fan base for sure, is the Legacy Hallway, related to the pictures down the hallway, the trophy case, etc. So just as a couple examples, it's still a work in progress, but we recently we got new headings for the Lisbon Alumni Association Hall of Fame, for example, that's in our entryway. And then the Legacy Hallway, we had a meeting on that again today, and it seems like it takes a long time, I understand, but there's so many details to this, and over 300 pictures that need to be hung back up.
It's going to be, so that's all staters will be
Yeah,
hung
it'll
back
all be
up.
back up, yes.
Great.
But what'll happen is, Now aesthetically, which some care about and some don't, it's going to match our renovation a little bit better related to just matching frames and maybe how we're spacing them. We met with somebody today again on that, and Brandon provided an update. He's trying to connect with the community, but also specifically the wrestling community seems to be most passionate would be a good word regarding it. So just to let you know, frames, one of the things that held it up is we had thicker frames and we just decided to maximize space. They just need to be a little bit thinner, so we're taking care of that. The hanging design, we talked today about a black J channel designed to hang everything so it's classier. And then obviously we have the signage, we have to do a little bit of painting, but it's coming along really well. So those will be hung this summer. So excited about that, but just wanted you to have an update because
Is that going to be, excuse me, but
Yeah,
is
go
that
ahead.
going to be like from years from, is it going to be mixed years in with the pictures, or is it going to be like, say, 77 All-State up to 80, 90, 2000?
So what's interesting is a lot of people in the community have a lot of opinions on it, which I respect.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting because people have ideas about how they want to see it go, which is a progression by year, but then we keep hearing mixed reactions by activity. So we think what we're probably going to do is just hang them pretty much the way they were. Just because it seems to be, what's the word, less controversial and easy just to kind of have a plan and put them back up. The reality is, and it's a testament to Lisbon, we have a problem here because you have high achievers and we run out of space. You know, we're running out of space over time. So at some point, there could be a problem between a grandfather and a grandchild vying for space on the wall because of running out of space. But for now, it's going to be really the way it was and just maybe matching better related to the frames.
Okay.
Because we just think that's the easiest design. If anything, there'd be just a slight change, but it wouldn't be anything profound.
Good, I'm just glad they're going back up.
Yeah, we are too. And it's hard because there's vertical and horizontal in a mix and all those things, so to try to make it all go up the right way. And again, matching the renovation was important because what you don't want is an eyesore after you paint and you make things modern to not kind of make the whole aesthetic feel good and connected. So one of the things we had added though is that Alumni Association wall of plaques that is also a nice addition that wasn't hanging before. So more on that later, but hopefully you'll be getting some progress. And then it's hard to believe it's almost May at the end of the week, and so we're already looking forward to graduation. So this year has just flown by, but we're going to be approving the list of graduates at the next May board meeting, and then we'll have that celebration on Sunday, May 17th, and it's always at 1 o'clock in the Lions Den. So we're looking forward to that. And I don't know, board members, if you have other comments you want to make or anything else to contribute, but those were kind of the top items for communication.
Shared usage for city park facilities and in-school facilities.
Yeah, I mean, everything always goes well every year. We'll do a walkthrough with me and Levi, just make sure everything's good before they go over there. But I know the water's already been turned on at the softball field. Bathrooms and stuff are taken care of there. We're gonna work to get the baseball field taken care of here, hopefully this week or early next week. But really, it should be pretty smooth transition from city to school. So if there's anything that needs attention, I know the softball's already reached out to me, and we've knocked quite a bit of that stuff off the list that they've had already. I haven't heard much from baseball, but if there is anything that needs attention, we're happy to do whatever we need to do to make it as smooth as possible. So if anybody has questions or anything, I know there is one, the batting cages have been brought up to me quite a bit. I'm sure you guys have heard about those as well. There's a lot of holes at the bottom of them just from staking them to the ground and stuff like that, and when they're blowing in the wind, they've ripped quite a bit. I think at this point it's probably close to a safety concern, so that might be something you guys want to look into. I have passed all this on to Brandon and Levi both. And I know that they've been talking about it and trying to figure out what they're gonna do with that, but that would be the only thing I think I have on the school's end for over there.
Okay, so what about the fence for baseball? Are we leaving that year round now, or?
That's another good point we should probably bring up. So we don't host anything over at the park anymore for Park and Rec, so I allowed them to leave the fence up last year after sauerkraut days and stuff like that. The only issue that comes with that is the leaves that fall. It's a eyesore to look at from the street. When they used to just blow down to the backstop, nobody could see them. But now you can see all those leaves as you're driving by once we get into the spring and the snow starts to melt and stuff like that. This year we went out and cleaned them all up, and I've talked to Brandon and Levi about possibly having the baseball team do some sort of a fall cleanup, and I think they're on board with that. I talked with Lance Camus. He said that, which I totally understand, it is a headache to put that fence up and take it down every year. So to make it easier on them, I think it's a good idea to keep it up, but we just need to make sure we have a partnership and we can work together to make sure that those leaves and stuff get picked up. And I'm willing to do what I can. I had Travis and his guys help me out this year to get it taken care of. So, but I think Lance is willing to use his baseball athletes to help with that, and so I think it should be a lot more smooth moving forward.
I'm sure it's something you get feedback on,
Yeah.
right, when there's leaves caught.
Yeah.
We get feedback too, so I'm
Yeah.
assuming you do as well, on things like that.
Other than that, I don't think it's always, Levi and Brandon are great to work with, school employees great to work with, Rod. Everything usually goes very, very smooth. It has the last 4 or 5 years, so I think everything will be good, but if there's anything that you guys need assistance with over there, let me know, and we'll get it taken care of.
I'm gonna try to get the AEDs mounted outside of the pavilion right now. They're in the concession stands, so there's a lot of activities that go on there where they may not use the concession stand or have keys to it. So I'm gonna look at moving them outside. We had pretty good luck out here at the sports complex. I mean, hopefully of all things that people wanna mess with, that's not something they will, but I think it just would be better and better accessible if we had it outside, so I'll probably try to do that here before everything gets kicked off.
So do you think for us using the school's facilities?
What was that? Sorry.
Do they got anything for us using their facilities?
I don't think so. I think the communication is just what's critical, and I think that's seamless, I would
Yeah,
say.
it always goes very, very smooth. I don't think we've ever really had any problems with using your guys' facilities. I communicate with Levi and Brandon of what I need, and they're usually very good about getting me what I need, and if they can't for some reason due to a school event or something like that, we work around it, so it's always gone pretty smooth. And I would assume it's gonna continue to be that way, moving forward, so.
How much longer are we in this lease agreement?
2027, I believe, isn't it? I think it's coming up. Is it, or was it longer than that? I can't remember. It's on the lease agreement, but
Good.
I want to say, is it? Maybe it's not quite that soon.
But, I mean, it ain't coming up like this year.
No, it ain't coming up this year. I think it was 2017. Well, no, that's probably not right.
Yeah, we're past 2017.
No, I think when we started, because it's a 10-year contract. I can't remember when it went
the
to a...
original one here. But I think also then if we're in a year where we have to take a look at that, we'd probably bump this meeting up like we used to, you know, more into March or earlier probably to discuss it.
So that'll always be baseball and softball fields?
That'll always be a city park over there.
But I mean,
The
the
school won't ever own it.
no, will they ever play on it?
I would assume the only time they're gonna probably play out there is if they would have some kind of a tournament where they need extra fields. And they would have to, I would say they'd have to lease it from us then, on that end. 'Cause I know, I don't know if Lisbon has a softball tournament every year anymore. I know they used to.
Yeah, not really for high school. We probably won't be able to host any high school baseball out there just due to the fact that there won't be a grass infield diamond. High school softball, Brandon and I have thrown around the idea of having like if they played Mount Vernon or something like that and wanted to come out and play out there, we could, obviously they could utilize one of our fields at that time. But yeah, that's always something we're willing to talk about, and him and I have had conversations about that in the past, so.
You know, say anything?
I just have a question on the track meets. That's gonna be way bigger than anything you had like this year, right?
May 14th is the state qualifying.
Yeah, and that's gonna be big, right?
Yeah, it was big like that last year too.
So, I just happen to live over there,
Yes.
and the parking gets kind of crazy on Highway 30. And people get really close to like the crosswalk in their cars that are parked on the gravel shoulder. Someone's gonna get hit. And same for like the intersection where the stoplight is, people crowd that like to where people are going in and out. I'm just wondering if we can't, I mean, we're never gonna stop people from parking on the shoulder. I mean, that's a given, because there's nowhere else to park. Otherwise, they're gonna be parking at Whitey's and that, or wherever, you know, Junction Auto, and that's not gonna fly. But I wonder if we can get some cones out, Brandon, maybe a couple feet, and this is kind of more of a Jason thing than, but, you know, like,
Just open up the intersection.
open up those intersections a little bit, like no parking the first, whatever, 10 yards, whatever.
Why can't they use overflow parking in the sports complex?
Well, that's a long hoof, buddy.
Track.
We'll follow you.
Well,
You go first, we'll follow you.
Do you have or soccer games at night, or baseball games?
Is that on a Tuesday or Thursday, I'm assuming? I
Your
will.
Thursdays and
14th.
Fridays.
I will. The 14th, we have makeup games unfortunately because we missed time due to weather, so.
Would've been a good place to park the school buses, but
Exactly.
Yeah, we
anyway,
will.
we need to be a little careful there, because it gets so congested through there, and I don't know if you need to have a policeman work it as a, I mean, there'll be more people there than any football game, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if we should have traffic control there or not.
Do you have a place for the buses now?
All I know is right now Levi sent something out related to, tell me all the vehicles you're bringing for the main 2 events districts and conference to just try to gauge direction and exactly where we want those staged.
Because then he sends out map to the ADs that share with their schools too, with directions. So we try.
I know that we've kind of partnered with, it's a little bit of a hoof, but Seeds of Faith Church. I don't know if there's some way to facilitate the rides back or how that would work, but that would be an option.
Like a shuttle, yeah, it's almost a shuttle situation.
It'd still be full, even if you guys did the
Oh,
shuttle.
yeah, but-
The thing, it's still gonna be full.
And what would you drive for? a
We've
shuttle?
talked about
Golf
it.
carts?
Yeah, we've talked about it before, about somebody trying to lean in their car, getting the kid out of the car seat. That's where, you know,
Well, and
Your
I
back
think it's a
sticks
fear we
closed.
all have. Yeah.
yeah.
That's why our board's constantly exploring options for parking in the future.
Well, it's just a good thing to have, that school's just still growing so much, can't even put parking.
That's a good problem to have, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, I just thought,
And it would be great if we really did have housing development coming. That'd be great. It's exciting,
Yes.
right?
You already do have housing development coming, Dan Coles. Then after that's full, he's gonna develop again.
That's great.
Bill's got
So that
anything?
should produce at least 100 kids.
Bring it on, right? Yeah.
Must all go to North Cedar.
They'll come this way anyway.
North Cedar had 28 kids graduate last year.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, they're on the verge of losing it.
Anybody else got anything? Public comment? No, nobody? Set next meeting. Look out.
Could we confirm next year's not when the lease comes up?
Yeah, I can look at the lease agreement and figure that out. Because another thing we'll probably want to talk about is the turf tank, because that's a 3-year contract and we're on year 2. So that will for sure be coming up next year. But that's all been going great, so if everybody's on board to just continue that.
Do you guys meet the first Wednesday? Is that second? I think like a tentative schedule of March 10th.
This one doesn't fall anymore, not. No.
I think
Looks
it's,
like 20th of November of 2017. So that would be, next year would be our 10th year.
6 o'clock, March 10th.
So that's the week before.
Week before spring break.
just trying to
Be at the school.
Yeah.
All right, so we're doing March 10th, 6 o'clock at school.
And we meet upstairs in the pride room, across from the library.
Yeah, we might change the library since I was there.
I think
Did you even know where it was when you were in school?
I was a librarian.
Whoa. It's not anywhere close to where
We can escort you up to the space.
Yeah. All right, anybody got anything else? Meeting adjourned.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Maybe we can get contact the history center and get your sports stuff put on the wall over there.
Rick?
Here.
John? Here. Kevin?
Here.
Pledge allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion for consent agenda.
motion.
There's a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public input. This is the time and place for discussion items that are already on the agenda with a time limit of 3 minutes each. Discussion possible action in reference to well number 5 CFB pay estimate number 3 to Weller for $34,483.50.
Dave is on Zoom if you have any questions. Or Dave, do you have any comments?
This brings them current to work. To date, they have installed some silt fence, and most of this is for composting.
Is that everything, is that everything that you want on it?
Yeah.
To make a motion to approve it?
A motion, to a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 13/2026, approving summer higher health.
This was discussed at the last meeting. When we got the publication done, I advised that Evan Coleman was coming back. He's attending college at UNI, and he is done the week of May 11th. We'd like to hire him back. I believe this will be the 4th year. He'd be at $17 an hour if we continue how we've done it previously, and that is right in the middle between somebody starting out at summer help and what Brian's making. And Brian will be at $21.70 starting July with the increase.
So is this the only one we're hiring?
There's one more. It'll be probably a brand new kid.
So I just got a question real quick. You said something about locking the pool and stuff. I don't think that it's fair to Drayton that he has to lock the pool all the time. I mean, he's got to have a little break on that. I mean, if he wants to do something at nighttime, will this people be doing this too?
Yes. And they're also going to help, like last Thursday, for instance, Brian helped over at the park, so he didn't have to sit there through all the night activities. We've had a couple cancellations, so that runs late. So the hope is that with the help, especially with Evan, he's a little more responsible. He's been here, he knows the ins and outs, and it allows Drayton to have a little bit more time away from here and not be tied to it all the time.
Make a motion hiring at $17.
Got a motion and a second?
Second.
Nate?
Aye.
Charlie?
One question, how many hours a week are we talking?
You can't go to 30, typically we keep him right at 20, but he can't be regularly scheduled for 30 or more, as he's considered full-time.
All right, aye.
Rick?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Public hearing for budget amendment number 2. Need a motion to go into public hearing?
So moved.
Got a motion to have a second?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, just to kind of explain how this works with all the amounts on here. A lot of this is money in, money out. You gotta show it both directions on a budget to make it budget neutral. So you have to show it as a revenue and then turn around and show it as a expenditure. So expenditures are $7,500 for the work that was done to create the EMS districts with Schneider and Associates. $2,500 was for the tornado siren encoder that had failed. That's been put in service and is good to go. $15,000 for UV bulb replacement at the wastewater treatment plant, which is an essential component of that. And then we had the insurance claim at the sewer plant for the power surge. And then the $160,000 for internal funds. There was actually no funds spent. It was a borrowed against to do the work out there at the industrial park, but we had to use it through TIF and lost. So you had to show it both places, $80,000 each way. So that's why it's $160. So you had to show it as an expense and a revenue in each account. And then $34,000 was per the auditor, which we don't know what the amount is of the transfer. Per last year's audit, was one thing he said we need to do this ahead of time this year. So right now it's going to be $34,000 as a transfer from the sewer debt to the sewer fund. And then $26,617 was for the work that we performed to complete well number 5. And then as you see, the revenues coming back is the insurance check for the sewer plant, which equaled out the $160,000 internal transfer, just to show that we have a revenue and expenditure. $34,000 from the sinking fund needs to be shown as a revenue into the sewer. And then, like I said, at the end of the day, the expenses were the UV bulbs, the siren encoder, and the EMS district creation, along with the well 5 improvements. Everything else was money in, money out. Any questions? And this should be, barring something tragic,
Hey, $34,000 for the motor was in, and now that what we got for insurance claim?
Yeah, minus our deductible, I think it was $5,000.
Any questions? Any motion to go to public hearing?
So moved.
A motion to have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 15-2026, approving budget amendment number 2. Any motion?
Motion to approve the budget amendment.
A motion to have a second?
Second.
Nate?
Aye.
Charlie? Rick? John?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Resolution 16-2026, approving library board members.
Is Elizabeth on?
No, I have a Michael, but that's it.
Okay.
So there's no new one?
Yeah, I was just making sure she wasn't on.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to butcher her last name, but Stephanie would like to get on the library board. You can see
No,
her.
I try to say it. I would be able to say it.
No one.
I call her Stephanie.
Hawk Latubi, we'll just go with that.
Okay.
Stephanie Hawk Latubi. And her term would expire 7/1 of 2031. Their board has recommended approval of that. And sorry, Stephanie, if that's not the pronunciation.
As long as she knows Zoom, we're all right. Need a motion?
Motion to approve Stephanie.
Second. A motion is second. Kevin?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Rick? Aye. Riley? Nate?
Aye.
Resolution 17-2026, Alliant Energy franchise fees.
So this was the assignment you'd given last meeting. The only thing we have to do is create and approve the resolution for the revenue purpose statement. These are the items, A through G, is what can be spent per the state code on franchise fees. So we don't have to determine a percent or anything tonight, we just have to determine what we are going to spend the money on. All of the items there can be removed with the exception of A, because A is the governing portion of it, so that has to stay. I kept everything in there, I don't see any reason why. It makes it pretty wide open for different, people that want things done. There's different options. It's all tax relief in a way for projects. The one thing too, you can see energy conservation for low income. This is D. Low income homeowners, low income energy assistance programs or weatherization programs. That would be if you ever wanted to create like a grant like we do with the downtown or the Lisbon grant. You could make it a grant to, as long as they fit the low to moderate income, they could do something like seal their windows or put in new windows or something along those lines. Yeah, whatever that would, so I kept that in there. So we just need to discuss and approve the revenue purpose statement, and then we just move forward with the next steps. We'll probably have a discussion at the next meeting over what you want to see for a percentage for that, and then we can create the ordinance.
We could leave everything and have freedom to use it differently every year.
Yeah, 'cause there's people that, some people may say, well, I want this or I want that. If you have, the more options you have, you're not specified to one topic or one thing.
I mean, I think we keep them all in. I mean, that pretty much covers about anything we want to
We
do.
just can't remove A. That's the only rule. It's inspecting, supervising, otherwise regulating each franchise approved by the city. So it'd be removing your government authority to supervise it or oversee it.
I'll move to approve as written.
Do you have a question?
Yeah.
Yep.
Any questions here? Do you consider this a tax? Because here's what I'm thinking. I got a letter today from the gas thing for adding another $7 to your thing.
The insurance.
Yeah. In case something happens. The only feeling I have about it is grandma over here, like, gets a $1,200 Social Security check and pays the rent and stuff, and now it's going up and up and up. And when the guy was here, I didn't really kind of like his answer because, Warren Buffett, so he said, you don't ever get nothing for free. So I'm a firm believer that this is the way Lion's making, I think they're making money on people's money. And that's just my feeling about it.
They're actually, and I can certainly provide you the documentation, but I've looked at this for about 4 months. There is actually, whatever you decide to do here, this action has zero impact on what they make. Now, they charge that on the bill, but that is, they have to, by the program, give that money to the city. So it's specifically going to Lisbon. That's why that 1%, if you think, I don't want to up this, I don't want grandma to pay me more money, that's fine, but do the 1%, because what you would do then, right now, Lisbon is only getting their percentage of that 1% that's already on the bill, where if you do this, we're going to get 100% of that 1%.
And how much money is that gonna be then?
It's not going to affect, I want to say it was like $30,000
Okay.
a year. But that will not affect it. The bill won't change one bit.
Yeah,
Okay, then they're going-
1% franchise fee changes nothing for.
It changes nothing other than the fact that we get to recoup 100% of that 1%.
And then that would go into our general fund then?
Right now, I think we get, correct, we get $13 of every 100 of local option sales tax collected on that 1% now.
Yeah.
So we're only getting a 13%.
Yeah, we're getting 0.13%. If we do this at 1%, we get all of it.
All of it.
Even if we only do it at 1%, It's not gonna change any impact on anybody's bill, and we're gonna recoup all those funds. Because right now, like, for example, there's a town close to us that has this. They're getting the franchise fee that they set, which is higher, and they're getting the 1% of their local option sales tax off our bill. Because they got a percentage of that they get. We only get 13%, well, they may get 15%.
I was against this, Rick, until I realized the math works out
So
better for Lisbon to
for
go
at
1%,
least-
and it doesn't change anything for anybody.
I would strongly recommend, I don't care if you do anything over that, do the 1% so you at least recoup the funds that are there to take.
So what's in it for Alliant? Why would they administer this?
All
We don't have to.
they're doing is passing the money through.
They're looking, because that money, I mean, you know, in the end of the day, okay, this can be used for economic development. Well, we have economic development, there's more customers, there's an incentive to, you know, build. Because if we build, they build. And then they have funds that they, so I guess to answer your question, in the end, yes, they may reap the benefit, but the benefit is the same reap we have as by growing.
Do we have franchise fees on anything right now?
MediaCom.
And we need to do like the same thing with like Mechanicsville, get the 1%. One, it's fair, we have to look at that now that they're established. But again, sales, you know, that local option sales tax, we're only getting 0.13% of that.
But you see how, you see how people would think this though, you mean, let me just bring this up, of the fee of, oh, we're gonna, our bill's gonna go up, you know, $3 or $4, we just passed the water, wastewater taxes,
Right.
and
No,
stuff
100%.
like that, and then people are gonna say, geez, you know.
Right. No,
Yeah, there's an education factor that
There-
needs to go with this.
And I agree with you that there's, I mean, people are gonna say, oh, but how many people you see out here? You never see anybody in any business,
Right.
you know.
That's the only concern.
And I
I
mean,
bet I see there's things in here that, you know, that I would personally like to see, like like the new siren system for the emergency warning and stuff like that. Maybe offset some fire equipment, some public works equipment and stuff like that.
you know, one thing is with this fund, you know, if you want to purchase something, you want to do something, you don't have to go against the debt capacity to do it, which the debt capacity raises taxes. With this, you're not always going to go to the property owner. You're going to the actual people. So, you know, like, this would affect like apartment complexes where it's not always the property owner. You know, it's everybody getting this bill. That's one angle to look at it. But with at least 1%, nobody's gonna pay any more than they're paying today. The only benefit is for us to get those funds back.
But to look at it another way, the person paying their bill doesn't pay any more, but the city's getting 7 to 8 times more than we're getting now out of that 1%.
Out of that same amount of money that's being paid by us.
Yeah. I think it's a no-brainer at 1%.
And, you know, and like, go back to my point, I mean, you see we have nobody here, and I don't care what we send out, whether we put it at 1% or at 5%, it don't really matter to me. But I can honestly, every one of us up here was elected by citizens here, and they don't show up here, so we're making these decisions for them. And I mean, I've done this for a few years now, and I've never sat up here and did anything for myself. I've always thought of the citizens, what's best for this city, you know. And you might have a select few that's going to bitch about a 2% bill or 3% or whatever. I mean, it is minimal. It's a can of pop is what's going to be added to the bill. You know, I mean, I'm just.
Yeah, we're not establishing the percentage tonight.
You know, and we try to keep our, you look at our tax rates, what our tax rates have done in the last 8 years, and we try to keep it down. I mean, sooner or later, we're gonna have to do something, we gotta start fixing stuff again. I mean, you know, we spent a lot of money getting all the sewer and water done, and it's done.
Yes, and we did a lot of manpower towards it, so now we can, there's other things.
I understand.
There are our programs right now for the person on $1,200 a month, Social Security, to help them with their energy bill.
And this is stuff, I mean, I'm glad we're talking about it, I mean, because, you know, you're gonna get hit with it outside here. I'm gonna get hit with it outside here, you know. But, all right, so I need a motion, I had a motion by John, I think.
I'll second it.
Are we agreeing on the one or?
That'll be at the next meeting.
Okay.
Got a motion by John, second by Rick. Nate,
Aye.
Raleigh,
Yeah.
John,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
Rick.
Aye.
All right, set public hearing for Alliant Energy franchise-free ordinance for June 8, 2026 at 7 p.m. Need a motion to set the public hearing.
So moved.
There's a motion,
I second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And then granted, in our packet, in that night, would you just have like whatever, like the 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, I'll have, again, the towns, what the other towns have, and I will have
What we
the
had
dollar
last month.
amount that
Yeah.
you have, so you can see it on there, what each of them are.
So we do, that's what we do both gas and electric.
We can do one of
And
the,
or you can do different amounts for each.
I mean, we could do 5% on one and 1% on another. We could do 1 on 1% and 0 on none.
Well, yeah, that's the question, that's, you know, you just understand it now.
Okay. Correspondence,
Nothing tonight.
city engineer report.
Dave, you on there?
Yeah, really the only thing we have going at this time is the well project, and as you saw from the pay estimate, they're just getting started on that. They did get some erosion control put up. Hoping to get started this week. With the rain, it's going to be a little bit slow, but hopefully this week we'll be out on site to get things started.
What are you gonna do for Dave? Park and Rec, no, I'm just kidding. Public works.
I was hoping I was gonna get out of here two in a row. We've been working on getting the water and stuff turned on for the parks. Hopefully by the end of the week we'll have the baseball water turned on, so everything will be up and running for the school. We talked about in our meeting earlier. We've got to, hopefully the rain will quit so we can paint the pool. I need 2 weeks of dry time before we can do that. With that being said, if I can't get the 2 weeks, I might not be able to paint the pool, or we have to prolong the opening of the splash pad. So if I see that prolonged come in, I'll sit down with Brandon and have him get a hold of you guys individually, see what your guys' consensus is on that.
Could we tarp that?
So, it's the humidity too with the rain that's because it's an epoxy paint and it's fun. It's fun paint to deal with.
Have we ever had a 2-week stretch in the spring where it hasn't rained?
Yeah, we've painted it in the fall too before. We've shut it like down sooner than to get it done because we've had bad. But yeah, it's normally not a problem. This spring obviously it's a little more rain than we normally get. With that being said, we're hopefully going to be out to the sports complex here in the next week and a half, getting things buttoned up there for the final 2 batting cages and then a building for the sprinklers.
Is that it? That's all you have for a whole month?
Yeah. Well, I didn't touch on what I was going to say last meeting.
Big anything for Travis?
Yeah, Travis, a couple things, and Brandon, you kind of poured into this too. The sidewalks, now, who around town, have we ever thought, who, first of all, is the city in charge of the sidewalks or is the homeowner in charge of the sidewalks? Because there's been a lot of big trees, you know, I live in older Lisbon, that the sidewalks are heaved a little bit, you know, if I don't know, from the roots but the trees are gone now. And I'm not talking, you know, have we ever thought about mud jacking or is that the, I guess, is that the homeowner's all expense?
So right now, by city code and state code, the homeowners abutting to that property are responsible for all sidewalk maintenance and repairs.
Okay, so then we do inspections to hand out?
This is actually a topic ongoing this past couple of weeks, and I was actually going to put it on for the next meeting, but since you asked about it, I'll just answer it here. It's of my belief if we were to, so let's say a city tree caused a heave in the sidewalk. Okay?
Exactly. That's what I'm
The
talking
tree's probably been there for a long time, long before any of us were
100
around
years.
to do it,
Yeah.
okay? The issue that we would have if we change it is you're gonna go around town and we're gonna need a crew to do, I mean, there's gonna be substantial. And then where's the line of what's good and what's bad? Because there's a lot of sidewalk that I would call not great, but passable. Like, especially the north parts of.
That's why I say we should probably do an inspection.
And if that's also the case, I think it would be silly for us to ever plant a tree in the city right away again for the purpose of that happening.
Exactly.
So, it's ultimately up to you guys what you want to do, but I have one question in right now, and I reached out to the attorney, and right now, the best option is keep it as it is for us, just because it'd be, I mean, I don't know, I'd have to really take a tour. Now, I know that we had some issues on School Street. We told the homeowner, whenever we have a complaint or something that's egregious, we go out there, but I believe it's a ½ inch as a general rule of where we say, okay, you need to fix that. I call them, and usually they'll take care of getting it fixed. So, right now, it's up to the abutting homeowner, regardless if it's a city tree causes, because that's the other thing. If you have two trees, you don't know which root without digging down, what caused it. So, that would be the other thing, is trying to figure out what caused what. So, but as it is right now, per the state code, which is filed, the city took, because it's quoted in there on the city code, that the homeowners abutting to the property is responsible for the maintenance and repair of any sidewalk malfunction.
And now that we're on the subject, so if you tell someone, yeah, you've got a 3-inch bump there, someone's gonna trip over that, and they say, well, you just, no can do. Does the city go out and do it then, and then put it on their
So
property
it'd be
tax?
it would fall into like the nuisance, you'd have that process, it would go to mediation. They would probably
Civil
come
infraction,
in.
basically, right?
Correct.
Like where you.
Yeah. And then ultimately, yes, we would have to go out, just like we'd have to go clean it up, we'd have to go out, we'd have to fix it, and then they would get charged for whatever that is.
Okay, we require a re-rod on new sidewalks.
Yep, they have to follow all
And that's gonna lessen the impact to the
Correct.
trees on the sidewalk.
But I think one of the questions Raleigh's asking is, who polices it? What sidewalks need to be placed?
Exactly.
Sidewalks, no.
well, like I said, right now, we do it off complaint.
Well, another good thing is we do this anymore, go around walking, checking meters, if they're running right or anymore, we don't do that anymore, right?
Everything's all
All-
radio read.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I thought so, but that would've been a good time.
Well, when you're walking the city
I'm
street,
walking the dog, you mean?
walking the dog, just write down where you think they're bad at. And
Most of the time, there's often time, there's probably 10 a year complaints, I'd say, that come in. And some are close and some are, I wouldn't say there's not been anything that's egregious, or like there was one this into town, I called and said, yeah, we actually already got a quote for that, we're gonna take care of it, and they did. They replaced like 2 or 3 panels, so,
Yeah, I didn't get that brought to my attention.
Right.
Years back, when we did the northeast side, we had the city engineer go around and survey it, and then we had a program for the people to, if they went with our contractor, they got a pretty good deal.
Mine got marked and had to be totally replaced.
Yeah.
I ended up doing it myself. I hired a kid to help me, and I got it done for $400. But yeah, I don't know who went around it. You say city engineer went around.
I think it was.
Somebody goes around and marks what's bad and records
Did
it.
you used to have many of those where you did?
Pardon me?
Did you deal with any of those back in the day?
No, just by complaint basis.
Rick, do you have a sidewalk? Did you have to get yours done about 10, 15 years ago?
Don't have to have one on that side of the street.
Aha.
That's why you moved on that.
That's
That's
where,
That's
that's
a
the big
smart place to
thing.
live,
That's
yeah.
the problem.
Remember when you got Roberts?
Curb and
was
gutter
always
too, right,
complaining
Kevin?
about
Yeah,
that?
curb and gutter.
Randy Roberts.
Randy on the corner, yeah.
We tried to do
Brandon, me and we're just all talking, I have more questions for you too. Have we looked into, you know, a grant write-up, is there any bigger grants out there that we think is, as a city that we can get, that we can bring a grant writer in, like we talked about a few months ago, that, you know, that were possible to go ahead and get, you know, because we talked about with you, just the smaller ones that we know we can get, that's fine, because you have a lot of other stuff on your plate. But I've talked about any bigger grants that we could get a grant writer coming in that isn't gonna cost us anything unless we get the grant. But we have to look into it to make sure we think we can get the grant before we get a grant writer. You know, we have to help them out too.
Yeah, I had a webinar with an organization, and they were asked about project needs, and I mentioned Washington Street, and they directed me to ECOG, that there's some sort of state funding for that. So I am gonna go explore that, and then if there's an option, get Dave involved, and then go from there to see what we can get with that. There's also, I'm in the process of writing for Union Pacific to get some message board signs, so we can put those out. We've had a lot of issues with when they do the track work. They put their signs up, but the semis are already around the corner before they see the sign that says it's closed, so I'm gonna use that as a way to get the message board signs. They're like the DOT, you know, you put them on the back of a hitch of a truck, or they got their own standalone trailer type thing. So there's a couple things there, but I would hope those two that we can get in-house, but I will look for like community sidewalk grants, if there's something like that that we can look out.
Which that's great.
I'll reach out to those. And
Also kind of look for any that, like you said, any bigger that we might want to bring a grant writer in, you know.
Okay.
Anything that we can bring into the city that's available to us, we should try to have.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we done with Travis yet?
Yep, I'm done with Travis.
Parks and Rec.
We are in about the middle of our soccer seasons. The weather looks to be a lot better moving forward, but we did have to push back 1 week, so now our last day is May 14th instead of the week before. But everything's going well. We ended registrations for 3rd through 6th baseball and softball. Those kids will be starting within the next week or so. And then our intro T-ball and coach pitch registrations end on Friday of this week. So other than that, Ryan and I are gone 2 passes of mowing. We're getting ready to start our 3rd one tomorrow. We're not going to start today just because of the rain, but we'll get everything mowed again this week. And we did a lot of weed eating and stuff last week, and we're going to get the pool pumped out so Travis can paint, and just some of that stuff going on. So.
Anything for Drayton? Library?
I don't have anything for you.
Police department?
I can cover his and mine.
Ambulance?
Nothing for him.
Fire chief?
We're over $11,000 in donations for the St. Patty's Day fundraiser, so thanks again to everybody for that. And then the state fire marshal has requested all agencies to submit surveys. They're looking to potentially do more regionalized firefighting. They want to know very detailed on budgets, cost of doing business, all that stuff. So I don't know where that's going to go, but the sheriff is involved with that. So we'll see where that transpires after this survey is done, but I know that they're trying to promote shared services at the state level. So I'll keep you up to date on that. And that's all I have fire chief related.
Any questions? City administrator?
Just something for Jason. Officer Mackey graduated the academy last Friday. I did attend that as well. It was a good deal for him, good deal for the department. There's 2 more heading to academy on May 4th. Next Sunday they take off for that. Tomorrow I'll be meeting with CDG and a factory, a potential factory development out in the industrial park. We'll meet with the family representative as well as the new company, so we'll see where that goes. Along with the industrial park, the Elite Stone building is just about finished up. I was out there last Thursday and it looks really nice in there. They got a lot of they're just finishing up the front office space and they'll be complete. So if you're out there, stop in, they'll gladly show you around. There's several nuisances that we've been working on. One on South Washington is a part of a sheriff's sale. There was a pool electrical permit issue on Martha Street, and then we finally have the demo permit completed and ready to go for 400 block of West Main. The gas and electricity's been done. I think Travis has got the meter off the radio read off there, so that'll be coming down here shortly. And they're putting in 2 smaller houses on the 2 lots there. They're going to start with one, sell that, and then build the other one. We had work to do out on the Well 5 site to get that approved. Contractors approved that, so we're completely done with that on our end. Sports complex, as soon as the weather's fit, our crews will get out there and start concrete work as well as finishing the dugouts, and then that company will be back as well to do their portion. One thing I forgot, North Jackson nuisance, we did have mediation last week, and the court docket's pretty full, so the court for that's going to be in September, so there'll be a little bit of time yet for that. We'll get the flags up. They're here. It came in last week for Memorial Day. We'll get those put up. Our city health insurance renewal, we budgeted 11% based on what they estimated. It came in at a 13.6% increase. That's going to be pretty much across the board at all cities, so we may have to do some adjustments there later on, but that'll start July 1. The renewals never come out until end of March, 1st April, and that's just the way they do them, so it's hard to budget and prepare for ahead of time.
What did you budget for, or would you?
11%. Grass on the water main project and the Alliant gas project. Travis went around and sprayed all the weeds on both those projects. Dave's worked with the contractor who did the sports complex. I'm hoping to meet with him this week to go over those areas. He's going to submit a bid to Dave. Dave's going to take to Brecky, and hopefully they will come to some sort of agreement on getting everything touched up, because they are on the hook for 5 years, and it does not look good. But we did spray all the tall weeds along the project, just so that would be just grass that is growing. That is all I have tonight.
Travis, excuse me, I have one more question for you. When are we gonna flush hot hydrants? Do you know?
Yeah, it'd be end of the month, probably, 1st of June, generally.
End of May, 1st of June?
Yeah.
Okay.
That house on West Main, is that a shared, is that an alley there, or is that a shared driveway?
That's an alley. On the north side? Yeah, it's an alley. It runs between Chestnut and Penn Street, behind Parrots.
No, I'm talking about coming off Main Street. Is that where, like?
Oh, I don't know.
You know, between them?
I don't know what that's.
So the idea is we're gonna tear down?
From also said cement.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's, I don't know what that is.
Okay.
I would assume that's a personal driveway, that's not an alley. Because there's no, all those properties abut to each other, so.
I think Andy Pasker's got one on his side too, doesn't he?
South Washington, or shares it.
Be like in front of Allison's.
What's that?
Front of Allison's.
Front of all flips.
That's what you're talking about, right?
No, yeah, that's what house was share sale.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Yeah, that last block there on 600 block. It's got the shared driveway.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We got anything else, Brandon? Christina?
working on budget stuff, getting towards the end of the fiscal year, making sure everything's wrapped up. And last week I attended the Iowa Municipal Finance Officers Association conference, and I am their new VP.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
So you're president of one,
And VP of the other, yes, sir.
Boy, Bennett, look out.
Yeah,
You wear a lot of hats.
I do. That's all I got.
anybody got anything for Christina? No.
Just congratulations.
I don't have anything, and reiterate congratulations.
Riley?
No, just, let's try to follow up with what I brought up if we can for our next meeting, you know, about, as far as with the sidewalks, anything that you have, Brandon, that you could dig up, you know.
Okay.
Riley? Sure, Rick?
I got about 27 questions I need to answer.
Yeah, none retained, returning.
That's that house.
John?
Just a couple things. Welcome and thank you to the new board member of the Lisbon Library. We need those volunteers for these committees and boards. Southeast Lynn has a lot of programs that I don't think people realize. Anybody in the Mount Vernon-Lisbon area that wants to get free clothing, the clothing closet's open any time they're open. I think it's 9 to 4, Monday through Friday. They end up having to ship clothing out because they get more coming in than people come and pick up, and the excess goes to some other worthy cause like Goodwill. That's all I have.
Kevin?
Nothing.
I don't have anything, so meeting adjourned.